She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. Currently my next book that I am in for is Bloodline Magic. If I can get that to there we go. So my next book is Bloodline Magic, which I'm really excited to be reading. I love the cover. Then I read what it was about. Lost interest. There was something about it where, and then I read the triggers and I was like, I'm not here for this. I decided to just go on ahead, give the book a chance, and I will let you know the writing is just really comforting. I think I watched the author talk about her number of revisions and her process to getting this book published, and apparently there is a crap ton of revisions, and you can kind of tell it's very smooth to read, like just so satisfying on just how well written and put together the prose are, the storyline, and everything. So really enjoying Bloodline Magic, and I highly recommend so far, you know, to give it a go. The sensitive topics for this book so far aren't that bad. Like, you know, police brutality, there's a whipping scene. It's not harked on enough. It kind of so far just makes a point. Now the police brutality, I haven't ran into that in the book yet, so I'm hoping like that's just the police brutality I haven't gotten to yet, so that's not an issue so far. But from what I gather, the story of Bloodline Magic really is the story of a girl coming of age where she will become, you know, a witch. But only way to become a witch, she has to reach out to her ancestors and they will give her a task. If she passed the task, then boom, bada bing, you know what I'm saying, she wins. But in this particular case, they gave her a task where if you take it, you know what I'm saying, and you win, you get your magic. But if you take it and you fail, every person in the bloodline within this family will no longer have magic. Gone. Then it's like if she refuses to do the trial, then all of her family at this point in time right now will all lose her magic, which is tied to some other things that make that decision even more complicated. So she finally decides that she is going to take on the task, and then the task is to find your first love and destroy it. And so she's like, I gotta go kill my first love. Never been in love before, so now we're getting into the science fiction part of this book, which is there's some new technology that came out that uses DNA reading or scanning to match you with your perfect match. Just so happens to be this guy she meets who's kind of a dick. So she's in a interesting predicament because she doesn't like him. So I mean, this could work out in her favor, but technically he has to be, you have to kind of fall in love with him. So I don't know if she how she was gonna work that out, but either way, I'm not that far in the book. Like I said, the writing is really good. A lot of representation, you name it, they doing a representation of it. I think they have a demi-romantic character, they definitely have a trans character, gay characters, gender fluid characters, all the things. So, you know, if that is, if that's something that, you know, you like to see more representation of in books, then I would say support this book, give it a read, give it a try. Like I said, so far I'm enjoying it, pretty good time. A lot of familyness is in this book, so if you like reading books about like magical families and things like that, then you'll definitely enjoy this book as well. So Bloodline Magic, this is by I think is Liselle Sambury, but yeah, Bloodline Magic. Hey you guys, I'm back, new day. And I just finished Bloodline Magic, and I gave it a 4. I would say maybe it's like a begrudging 4, but a 4 nonetheless. The book is well written. I will say that it's really well written. A lot of the social commentary that's in the book is really thought out well. The author mentioned in one of her interviews that she had, well, not interviews, but I think she has like a YouTube channel. On her YouTube channel, that she had it go through, I think, sensitivity right editors. So I think people who, I guess, would have a little bit more knowledge on some of the subjects that she was hitting on to make sure that it was appropriate and not offensive. And I thought she did a really good job on that. I thought that she did a really, really good job on making the book really socially acceptable. With that said, there was a lot of it, I think, in order for it to be socially acceptable for my liking. I think some things could have been quite quick. I think some things could have went without saying. And I don't think it would have been offensive, and I also don't think that it would have, depleted from the story. I actually think it would have added to the story. The book is kind of long. Now, granted, I listened to the audiobook, but like, to have the book in your hands, I know the book is kind of long, and I feel like some of the length is just for a lot of explaining of things that I just feel like you didn't really need explaining for. Like, some things you probably just could have Googled and found out. There was times where she was describing like how the city was, and how in this futuristic, world, which wasn't all that futuristic, which was an issue I had. But in this futuristic, or more technologically advanced Toronto, that in order for, them not to push out all of the affordable housing, like, for every mileage there had to be like 3 or 4 buildings of affordable housing, but how like the rich were manipulated by putting their money in multiple different accounts to appear poorer than they were. So even though there was affordable housing, it was still filled with like rich people or whatever, so there would still be like quote unquote rich neighborhoods. So that was interesting, but as far as the story was concerned, I didn't understand why it was necessary. I don't think there was enough focus on her cooking. I mean, it was, but I didn't think it was enough of it. I wasn't moved by any of the cooking aspects. It didn't seem like there was enough of it, enough description of it, and I feel like that was a major part of this main character's personality. And then on top of that, the love interest situation appeared to be cute, but not that cute. There's times where it was just like, certain things just didn't feel real or believable. Some situations of the past felt weird as well. There's just so many things that I was just kind of like, okay. But why, now that you know that, why it didn't really move me as much as I wish it did, but the writing was just so good. Just the chain of events, the idea of there was a missing girl. I didn't realize that we were gonna have a mystery to solve. So I really, really like that. So honestly, I like that the meat and bones of the book isn't really described in the description. Like, there's definitely more to it. I love almost every aspect involving the ancestors. They really kept me interested in the book, honestly. If we didn't have the ancestor part, I would have definitely given this a 2.5. The ancestor parts really were captivating and interesting. The personalities, the how people integrated with them. Also, I would say I appreciate that she didn't have the perfect family. You saw like just the good and bad in everyone, in every aspect of her family. She didn't have the perfect mom and dad situation. There was a bit of like a split, conjoined, nuclear family situation. It was very interesting. Would I recommend you read this book? Yeah, I think I would. If you really do enjoy stories about witches and families, I say go for it. Is it going to move you in a way that's like, this is the greatest book I've ever written? Or will this move you in a sense of, this is the greatest book I've ever read? I'm going to have to go with a no. Definitely not. But is it a good time? Will you enjoy it? Will it make you laugh? Will it make you smile? I did laugh. It did make me smile. There were some things where I was just like, I have no idea how this is going to end. I have no idea what's going to happen. And so there is a little bit of, mystery, I think, to the story that makes it worth definitely picking up. The only thing I would say is that I think this book is going to be in a series, and honestly, if you read just the first book, you're good. Like, nothing about that book really says, yeah, everything concludes. This is what I want to say. Everything concludes wonderfully. There's nothing that's not completely like explained really, where you're just like, oh my gosh, I gotta wait to the next book to find out. Like, I have no idea what the second book's gonna be about because nothing felt unanswered. Like, I feel happy and satisfied with the way this book ended. But with that said, when the second one comes out, will I read it? Yeah, I probably will. I'm interested enough. Will I buy the book? Maybe. It is a beautiful cover. But anyway, you guys, that concludes my thoughts on Bloodline Magic by Liselle Sambury. As for what I will read next, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa.